Well, good evening. I'm your host, Teresa. Alongside me tonight, again, is Mr. Krishna, and we're happy that you're joining us tonight. How are you
Yeah,
doing, Mr. Krishna?
yeah, good. Teresa, how are you doing? It's good to be here in
Doing
the
really well.
audience.
We have a special guest with us tonight, so I'm very excited that everyone gets to know her a little bit better. Tonight, we're just going to first start with a promotion. We are promoting and endorsing Cash Patel. And so we have an event that's coming up on May 6th. That's a Saturday at 5 p.m. It's going to be at the India House at 8888 West Belfort Boulevard in Houston, Texas. We are hoping that you can come. If you don't know who Cash Patel is, he was the chief of staff to the DOD, Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Principal Deputy at ODNI, National Security Advisor on Intelligence for the Trump administration, and I believe he worked for a little bit for the Obama administration before that. So VIP reception is at 6 p.m. The dinner is at 7 p.m. Speech is at 8 o'clock, and then a Q&A session at 8:30. If you could pause the video and scan the QR code, you can go ahead and buy your tickets to come. We would love to see you there. We have some really good food. I believe we're going to have some chicken and vegetables and things like that. Some typical potluck type of. I guess it's not potluck. That's when people bring their own things, but
Right,
it'll be catered. It'll be
catered kind of food. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
catered chicken and vegetables and desserts and things like that. So it'll be a really fun time. We'll get to know what he did and what he, a little bit more about Cash Patel. If you watch the news, some the news networks have him on. But tonight we're going to be talking about Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees. They have 3 positions that are currently open for candidates to run against the incumbents. And tonight we have Miss Sonia Jones, and she is running currently against the incumbent Danetta Williams. And I want to share with you, there's actually several people who are running for the same position. So we have Raleigh Demeza, Allison Drew, Angel Hicks, Sonia Jones. All of them are running against Danetta Williams in that position, position 5. So let's go ahead and have our wonderful guest join us. Good evening, Miss Sonia. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Teresa. Good evening, Krishna.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for taking time to come on the podcast so that candidates, as a candidate, your constituents can get to know you a little bit better and find out why you're running for Board of Trustee. Can you give us a little information about yourself?
Yes, as you know, my name is Sonia Jones. I've been living in Fort Bend for about 8 years. I am currently a teacher with the Houston Independent School District. And prior to that, I worked in higher ed with Our Lady of the Lake University. So I have a combined experience about 14 years in education. My educational background is a bachelor's in psychology from Our Lady of the Lake University and a master's in education administration and leadership from Lamar University. I'm a proud mom of 3 children. They're all grown. And I'm very, very happy to have moved and to have lived in Fort Bend County.
Cool. Great.
Fantastic. Well, you and I definitely have something in common. I also have a bachelor's of psychology and a master's of elementary education. So I feel like we get to know each other very well right away. I've been in so this is my 16th year. So can you tell us why you're running for Board of Education or Board of Trustees for Fort Bend?
I'm running for Board of Trustees is because I believe in student learning, teacher development, and administrative responsibility. As a trustee, I hope to achieve full accountability and transparency and take a pro-parent stance in regards to the education of children or what have you. Part of my platform is one thing is to rebuild the peace between Fort Bend ISD, Board of Trustees, as well as the community. There has been a bridge of gap, and being on this, I'm about bridging the gap being on this campaign trail, I've heard people say that a lot of times Fort Bend ISD doesn't communicate with them. So I just want to bridge the gap and be a breath of fresh air and just bring positivity to the board as well as a renewed sense of community between the school district and citizens as well.
Very good. I noticed because I do keep track of the board meetings, and I mean I understand what you're saying about making sure that everyone is working together and that the information is being given out to the parents, because even in our board meeting that we had on Monday, we could see that there were some issues with giving parents the information enough time about rezoning. And even though they had selected something because they did get some feedback from one group, not every group got that opportunity. So it's about making sure that everyone has the same ability to get the information, whether you're giving out flyers to your parents, or you're sending it out as a newsletter. However that has to go out, everyone should be able to do the thought exchanges. Everyone should be able to have a stake in their children's learning and the decisions that are being made. And I think that luckily the board, based on their discussion, they really implore that. They really want the parents to give feedback. They want the parents to be involved. But like you said, the communications has not always been there. And on top of that, you have some board members who communicate misinformation, which we've seen that as well. And that was also addressed at the board meeting on Monday. So you already talked about what your platform was. Thank you for that. How are you different from your incumbent, Ms. Danetta Williams?
I would say what I bring to the board is a more of a pro-parent stance. I do not believe in single. I do believe in single member districts. I do not. I, I believe in school choice, but as far as vouchers are concerned, I'm a little bit on the fence about that because I look at it from a point of view of if there's going to be government interference in relationship to education of children, then you might as well just not have them or what have you. And when it comes, and that's the one thing that how I differ from the incumbent is because I'm more pro-parent. I'm more proactive. I feel like parents should be proactive in their children's lives. It should be welcoming or what have you. I'm the type of person that's very transparent as far as that's very transparent about everything. I can be direct at times or what have you. And then there are other times I can have a sense of diplomacy in the way that information is relayed to others.
Very good. Yes, we're going to speak it tonight about school choice, and I can definitely agree with that. Your statement about when the government is involved, it gets tricky, and the
Yes.
vouchers and who can go where, and so we do have some proposals from some members of FMAG, our Freedom Matters Action Group. We are 100% with you there. We are pro-parent as well, especially when it came down to the things that they were trying to make the kids do during the pandemic and the masking and the almost forced vaccine and just the protocols of overusing hand sanitizer, which is actually not good for you if you're using too much of it.
Right.
Just all those types of things that we have actually been part of protesting and rallying and going to the board meetings. And so parents do have a voice. Parents, because my daughter at the time when we were living in Missouri City was at Quail Valley GT Academy. She's a middle schooler. And it just so happened that we were renting, and so we decided to buy a house, and just so happened that we went to Richmond. But we are definitely pro-parent, and parents have every right to what their children are learning, every right to know what's going on. And I think the big eye opener for a lot of parents is when everything was online.
Mhm.
Parents started figuring out, whoa, what are you teaching my
My
kid?
child,
Yeah,
yes.
what's going on in this classroom? What, even the behaviors in the classroom that were online that were exhibited, parents were kind of like, why is your child acting like that? So it's kind of a big eye opener for parents, including myself, when my daughter was online going through school.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
believe I believe that parents should be hands-on when it comes to the education of their children. I was hands-on, very hands-on, not just homework or what have you, but I'm emailing the teachers, I'm calling the counselor, I'm calling the AP, or what have you. And I'm monitoring. Even as a parent, you have to monitor what your child is being exposed to, as well as the conversations that they're having with their friends. Yes, I was a little nosy with my teenagers, but at least I had some kind of idea of what was going on or what have you. And in this day and age, you can't find those parents anymore. You just can't, so
And I think that becomes a gateway for educators. I'm an educator. I've seen some of this going on, not necessarily at my school, but I've seen where because the parents are not involved, the teachers think that they know more than the parents, and the parents know more than the teachers about their child. They spend the most amount of time with their child with real time. If you're in a classroom with 22, 23, 24 kids, you don't really know them as well as their parents do.
mhm,
And the
mhm.
parents should always have the final say and advocate for their child. And so it sounds like you did a great job, and your kiddos are already grown, yeah?
Yeah, and I also had a special needs child. He had autism,
Okay,
so I fought for services for him until he moved away to Maryland and went to school there. But from K through 10th grade through 11th grade, I fought. And I made sure that my son was treated equally and fairly, and he got the least restrictive type of education. So, um, and sometimes schools didn't like that, And yes, they thought that they knew better than their mom, but at the end of the day, I'm his mother, and
right.
that's where it all. I'm the expert on my child.
That's right. That's right. And I think more parents need to understand that they are just not sending their kids to be babysit during the day while they go off to work. And so many parents, I mean, you have both parents in the household have to work. I mean, inflation is crazy. So they're
Mhm.
exhausted, they're tired, but the school is not a babysitter, and the school is not, the educators do not know more than the parents in a lot of ways. Yes, they have a training to teach content in interesting ways. Hopefully, they're doing that. But they do not know your child, and they don't know the values that you hold in your household and what you want for your child to be up, the
Right.
upbringing that you want for your child. So they can't replace you. So
Yeah, and I guess that's what they call the new age social emotional learning now, that teachers are teaching values and having opinions about what's right and what's wrong or what have you. And that's not the role of a teacher. It moves the objective to the more subjective. And when you do that, then you get away from content and more of opinion rather than the objectivity that the knowledge brings.
exactly. The only time a teacher should be talking about how to interact with other kids or giving their opinion is if two kids have an argument and the teacher's there to try to help them figure it out. Other
Exactly.
than that, it shouldn't be opinion about your gender identity. It shouldn't be opinions about anything pertaining to life situations. So
Right.
just how to get along, how to be kind to one another, how to forgive one another, those types of things are okay. But I can completely agree with you about the SEL. It definitely opens the door for people who don't really necessarily jive with your moral values in your
Hmm.
household to give their opinion. And children are impressionable by their teachers. So,
Right.
I mean, I was taught very early on that you don't give your opinions about things to children because they're too young. Even in
Right.
high school, it shouldn't be a teacher's job to give any type of opinion when it comes to like the moral values. That comes from the parents. And if the
Yes.
parents are not instilling that, the kid will figure it out somehow.
And that takes away from true academic discourse because is that you have to really think about it. Is this what's best for kids or what have you? Is this making them college and career ready? And we have to answer those questions as trustees and as educators and everybody who are involved with kids. Is this what's best for kids? And is this helping kids? And if we can't answer that question, then we're not supposed to be doing whatever it is we're trying to decide on.
That's exactly, exactly. What do you think are any main concerns for Fort Bend that you would like to maybe address as a board of trustee, or maybe something that Fort Bend is doing well, like maybe the counter? What are they doing that maybe need a little bit of improvement, and what are they doing well?
I think one of the challenges of Fort Bend is the discipline. The bottom line to discipline is this: children can't learn when there's no discipline. Learning stops no matter who's doing the kids. When someone is disruptive in class, when a child is disruptive in class, it has an impact on the other students. And because there's this liberal agenda for restorative justice of bringing kids, putting kids back, disruptive kids back into the classroom, it takes away from the education of students, and it becomes a more emotional and more social because everybody's wondering, well, what's going on with this kid and why did he get back? It seems like the child is rewarded. They go to the principal's office, they give them candy, they have a few words with them, they put them back into the classroom to disrupt even more, and the cycle continues. And then you see that cycle in our justice system with
Yes,
that same cycle in the justice system because when we have bonds that are low bonds and you have criminals with a slap on the hand and just put them back out there to do it again, there's no law and there's no order because it's restorative justice, it's in the school and now it's in society.
absolutely. And we talked a few weeks ago about a sheriff in Harris County who was talking about just that issue, that they don't really have the manpower to go after like the small petty thefts and
Mm-hmm.
petty crime. Those people just get right back out on bail or a bond,
Right.
and then they're back doing the same thing. It might take them 16 hours of their day, a disruption, and then they go right back out because they're making a lot of money stealing cars, stealing
Mm-hmm.
carburetors, and all that. And there's no justice. There's nothing that's holding them accountable. So I think holding people accountable for their actions, no matter who they are, is really important, especially when you're talking about the middle schools and high schools where um, people are just, there's so many fights. I mean, I have my seventh grade girls from my church that I'm a leader of, and they tell me all the crazy things. They're at different schools, different districts, and I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, even at my daughter's middle school, there's crazy fights where the fights are so bad that the girls, some of them, some of the kids have gone to juvenile detention
Yes.
because I mean they're just so angry. And how do you tackle that? I guess the question is, how do you tackle that without giving them some guidance while they're at school? I guess maybe it's just this is the policy and you don't follow it. This is the consequence, and like you said, being transparent about what is the consequence for this. I remember when I was younger and in school, I mean, I went through school in Indiana. If I had a behavioral problem, I had to go to Saturday school. My
Yeah.
parents had to bring me there and they had to sign off. Now you will find that parents don't want to be inconvenienced, so they won't even sign, they won't even bring their kid there. So it's interesting because it's almost like at what can you do? I remember early on in Fort Bend, yes, you can set kids out at recess. Now you can't because it's part of their minutes for PE by the state.
Exactly.
You can't sit them out and isolate them at lunch because that's the time that they are supposed to be talking with their friends. So it's like, okay,
What do you
what
do?
type of leverage does the teacher have? We all
Right.
build relationships with our kids, but sometimes that's not enough.
Right. And you know what? I mean, when you look at it, it's so cyclical. What happens is When there is a teacher complains about discipline, oh, it's a classroom management issue. When a principal complains or try to discipline a child, oh, it becomes an SEL issue or a restorative justice issue. When the district tries to discipline a child, oh, it's a political issue now. And then when the state decides to use law enforcement to arrest that child or arrest that adult now because they've gone through the system of, oh, it's somebody else's problem, everybody's passing the buck. Then once they're arrested, oh, now it's a social justice problem. So when you look at it, it's like we're not doing children a favor at all, by not disciplining them. And I think people really have forgotten that the true meaning of discipline is to correct. And we're not in a society where everybody is so politically
Charged. Yeah.
charged that there's no correction. It's a go along just to get along type deal that's happening now in our society.
Yeah, I absolutely can agree with you. Um, what can people do to support you along your journey as you're running for Board of Trustee position 5?
Okay. I would love some political contributions. It helps with signs. It helps with block walking. It helps with a number of different things that helps get my name out there, get the word out there that I am running for being Board of Trustees position 5. Um, Block walking, I would love some block walkers. So once we get the signs or what have you, I'll be out there block walking and just hitting the campaign trail and just introducing myself and saying, hey, I'm for kids. I'm for your kids. I'm for my kids. I have a granddaughter. I'm for my kids. And we're going to make this right. Because one thing that I have learned, and I learned from a meeting this week, although Fort Bend is large, it's a very small community, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm against single member districts. I wouldn't want anyone to divide this community because everybody has come together and just really, really supported me. And I'm very, very thankful of that. And I'm just grateful. And I'll tell you this, if you can't support me by contribution, if you can't block walk, pray for me. And I would really, really appreciate that as well.
That's fantastic. And we'll keep everyone updated if there's any upcoming events. Feel free to share it
Yes.
with us. I know you have a website that's being developed right now, and once that's up and running, we'll go ahead and share that out as well.
I also have a Facebook page. It's Sonia for School Fort Bend ISD School Board. It's on Facebook as well.
Okay, and are you on any other social media or just Facebook?
Just Facebook. I'm kind of old school. I'm still trying to figure out Instagram, TikTok, and
Yeah,
everything else with the
whatever
kids
comes
or
up in this
whatever.
post-millennial age, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on
We
Facebook
keep it out
for
of the
right
schools,
now.
though, yeah.
Yeah,
Miss
yeah.
Sonia, you said that was Sonia at what for Facebook?
Facebook, Sonia Jones for Fort Bend ISD School Board.
Is that a 4 FOR or is that number 4?
FOR.
Okay.
Sonia Jones for Fort Bend ISD?
Share that.
Yes,
Okay, so just like that?
yes. Let me bring it up
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and I'll put it in the chat.
So you could find Sonia Jones at Sonia Jones for Fort Bend ISD School Board. Follow her, give her some love, pray for her. Tell her how you can help out. I'm sure she'll be posting some upcoming events or other ways you could follow her once she gets a website up as well.
For
Miss
sure.
Sonia, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, and remind us again, Sonia, when the election is.
May 6th.
Okay, May 6th. So coming up in 2 months and change. So don't
Yes.
forget to vote. Don't forget the date.
And
Yep, early
early
voting.
voting,
Yep,
April is April 24th.
yep.
Okay, so there you go. You could vote as early as April 24th and as late as May 6th.
And I look forward to meeting. I've met some wonderful people in Fort Bend, and I look forward to meeting some even more wonderful people in Fort Bend.
Thank you, Miss
Well,
Sonia. Have
excellent.
a blessed evening, and we'll be praying for you, and we'll be supporting you here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thanks for joining us and good luck.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
A wonderful lady. I am so excited that she is running for school board for the district that I work in. I would love to see
Yeah.
her get elected for that position. I think she has a very nice demeanor about her, unlike the person who is the incumbent for position 5, as we have seen some issues there. We need someone who has a calm demeanor and someone who actually will stop and listen and be transparent um, and it definitely seems like that's the type of person that Sonia is. So we're so excited that she was here. Our next topic, we're going to talk about school choice.
Yeah.
And we just met with a lovely lady on Sunday. Her name is Miss Candy. And she shared with us her website for true school choice. Because right now, if you're not aware, I know we shared this on here a few weeks ago. It's called it's
Oh, is it,
the,
sorry, just don't be interrupt, but yeah, I just wanted to put the banner on Sonia Jones's Facebook page for those watching. So yeah, there's the link, folks.
oh, sure.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Any way that we can get people to follow her and find out more about her there, that's great. So this is, we had shared this a couple weeks ago by Middleton, was the Senate member who proposed this
Senator
Senate Bill
Middleton, okay.
176.
Mhm.
And I've started reading through most of it, talking about Texas parental empowerment, giving parents the choice for where they send their kids to. And they do support, this group does support, it's called True School Choice for Texas. That's the group. And let me share with you their
Yeah, and that
website.
word, right, and that word "true" I think is pretty critical, right? Because the school choice that is being floated on right now is really not choice because the choices in air quotes are limited to what the government will approve and what bureaucracies will approve, and there are certain schools that will not be acceptable choices, and so that's why it's not really choice in the true sense that it's just limited to what the government and I think the bureaucracy and regulators approve of. And so, yeah, that's what I think this true school choice is trying to shed awareness of and provide an actual solution of true choice. I mean, is that accurate to say, or did I miss it?
Yes, that is absolutely accurate. And
Okay.
what they're saying is this is the bill that is closest to what they want, but there's still some things that need to change in it. So they implore you to go look at what the bill actually has to say. They
Right.
have,
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, however, most of these school choice programs are not true school choice programs. So, okay, yeah, indeed.
right, because it doesn't really give the parent the full choice. If I'm a parent and I want to spend my tax dollars that would normally go to a district that's certified by the state to be a district or a charter school that's been certified, I don't have the liberty of homeschooling my child using those same funds. So what they want, what they're proposing are a couple really good things. Creating an ESA account, basically an educational savings account for each child. And that money will be used for educational purposes. And as the parent, I can choose whether I want to send my child to a Christian school. I can send them to a charter school. I can send them to the public school. I can homeschool them. It doesn't matter. I get free choice in that. And what happens is when there's a Senate bill, there's all these things that are added in there. From what I could see so far, it looked like you have had to have gone to either a public school, charter school, or being introduced to kindergarten in order to qualify for the program. For me, what if I homeschooled my kid? you
Yeah.
know, the first year or two. They would have to then go to a public school or a charter school or something for one full year. Well, what if I don't want my child to be at a public school or a charter school or
Right. Absolutely. Right.
or a
Right.
private school of any kind? So what they propose is that the money follows the kid. And on their website, uh, True School Choice for Texas, and we'll share the link in the chat.
Okay.
You
Yeah. Indeed.
can
Yeah.
find
For
a letter,
everyone.
a template letter, so that you can send your information. They've already done the reading for you. You can just look through, read it, read the bill. It's 33 pages. Um, Look at the letter, see if it applies to what you would want to say to your legislators, and then change it if you want to. But at least you have a letter template to start from, and you don't have to create something from scratch, because we all
Yeah.
work, we're all very busy, but we need to stay engaged. We need to stay
We need to make
focused
time
on
for
making
these
some good
issues. Yeah.
changes. Mhm.
Yeah.
We want really good choice, then that's what we should have, like full parent choice. So we don't have that yet with the current bills that are out there. The other thing is, we had Governor Greg Abbott, and I have not looked into it too much, but
Right. Ditto. But I. Yeah.
he is definitely, you've heard about it, right, Krishna? About
Yeah, yeah. People had like mentioned that he was having events on this issue, like inviting parents to like come support his attempts at school choice. I haven't like analyzed it or researched it deeply to see if Governor Abbott is on board with like the true school choice that you just went over, or if he's more of like trying to promote the really sort of scam school choice.
right, with some strings attached within the government, which
Indeed,
they
yes,
can basically make whatever policies they want for the schools if they want to. Not that they are. I haven't seen anything specific that as a red flag just yet. But again, I'm still at the very early stages of reading this, because he just started
right. Looking
basically
into this, yeah.
campaigning and going. I think he was in Conroe last week, right?
Oh, right. Yes. Yep. Up in my neck of the woods. Yeah.
And he held one of these parent empowerment meetings. And so
Parent empowerment. That's right. Yeah. That's what he
yeah,
called
and
it.
so
Yeah.
that's part of that legislature. So I understand that he's trying to get free choice for parent choice. But again, there's some stipulations. You don't have full choice, and it's still government controlled, as Miss Sonia was actually talking about. So when you
Right.
have
Right. Yeah.
government, any kind of government stronghold, you don't really have the freedom of choice. So that would be interesting, if you guys want to look into that and kind of study it and figure it out. But we are really excited um, about this true school choice um, for Texas group. So we'll share that. We have already the
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's all people have to really understand that they have to exercise their spiritual discernment, or at least develop it if they don't have it. In the way that a lot of these laws and programs are worded very craftily, like with the school choice, but it's not really choice because it's only limited to the choices that the government and regulators approve of. Just like when legislators and the government promote free education, which is not really free because it's funded by your taxes and you have to pay taxes. It's not like voluntary or consensual. So I mean, just like the school choice is school choice as long as we approve the choices, and just like the education is free as long as you pay the taxes, the school choice is very much along the same sort of deceptive lines, and so people need to discern that and be aware of it, and therefore promote true school choice, like you just shared with that banner.
right. And this is the way to get a
And
hold of
sorry,
them.
just to be clear, is that TXSC
Yes.
2023? Okay, so it's 2023 at gmail.com, not TXSC at 2023 at gmail.com.
Oh, you know what? Let me change that.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
okay.
see that I had the at there. Hold on one second. Let me
No
fix
worries,
that.
yeah.
I'll fix that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and one of the other things that was really great about this is that they believe that the money should follow the kid until they're age 30, which is great, because you know what? If I am a little bit delayed in my development, and I'm homeschooled,
yeah,
or even in public school, if I want, I have the money that's available. If I don't use all of the money because I choose whatever school with a whatever amount of money, then I use the leftover for secondary school or a trade. I could use it for any educational expenses that I want as a
Yeah.
parent. And
Right.
that's what
Right. Yeah.
you're basically paying for that. It's,
Yeah.
so I thought that was really great. So let me share that again. This is the correct. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. TX.
School choice, txsc2023@gmail.com. So I
Indeed.
took out
Yeah.
that other ampersand or the other at.
Yeah.
Also, this is the Senate bill, and we'll add that as well. That's where if you just type in Google SB space 176 Texas, it'll
Yeah.
come up and you can read the PDF. You can download it if you want to. That's exactly how I got it.
And
But
did you see like how many other senators have sponsored it, or if any House representatives have sponsored it, or how many?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah.
What I understand, though, there are several bills right now. The legislation right now is kind of hot. I guess this is their time of the year that
Yeah.
they make most of their decisions.
Right. I think a lot of these bills are circulating in the committees before which is I think the stage before they actually decide what will be voted on.
Right. I know that there's deadlines sometime in March. I don't have the exact dates.
Right, which is this month, because I think the session like ends at the end of May, so they're basically I think at the midpoint of the midterm.
Yes. Yes. So if you're not registered to vote for the May election, make sure you do that at least 30
Yeah.
days in advance. Make sure. And we've shared Vote 411. So there's all different types of ways that you can register. You don't have to go in person anywhere to register. So make sure you're registered to vote in your county and make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. In a few weeks, we'll have another candidate for Fort Bend ISD on our show. So we look forward to that event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And who is that
It is
candidate?
Cheryl. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cheryl.
Buford.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's how you say her last name. But yeah, she'll be on the show in a few weeks. So, well, it is a wonderful night. And I think that's all we're going to talk about tonight, unless you have anything else you'd like to talk about, Krishna.
No, I think that was comprehensive enough and beyond, and I think that will be it for tonight. And yeah, as you mentioned, we have Ms. Buford coming on as our next guest, I think in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks from tonight. Have a great
Yeah.
night.